Are we late, perhaps?
All right.
It's not that I'm ready. I think that should probably something to wear over my shoulders.
Wait, can everyone hear us? I'm gonna assume that is a yes. No one's yelled at us. Let me see. We should be live now. All right, second delay. Let me see. I'm gonna assume everyone can hear us. Or if not, God help us. So this is, I think, episode 10 for this year. And for this session, we're going to be covering how to actually use Microsoft Sentinel, some of the best career decisions you can use with the Microsoft Security technology stack. My name is Ellington. On deck, we have Sophie. She is one of my cyber program managers for my staffing side for Ellington Solutions. She's going to be answering any questions you guys may have about how to use Microsoft Sentinel. What are the best practices to actually get certified with it? What are employers actually looking for within the Microsoft Security Solutions stack, basically, for technology? And any questions we have on that at all. I will, from my end, be covering more of the technical side of it, from the standpoint of how to actually use it. So any questions you guys may have about it along the way, just let us know. Please, if you guys want to support us, just like, follow, or subscribe, depending on what channel you're watching this on. YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. But yeah, if you guys have any questions at all, just let me know. But otherwise, we'll get started. All right, perfect. We are actually live. Good. Let me see here. Perfect. So we will get started. So the first thing I want to cover is like the overall ecosystem for Microsoft, so everyone understands like how it actually works. So there's a couple of things to note, right? I think everyone here knows what Microsoft is because most people have a Windows device, right? They're a large technology firm. I think they're one of the largest technology firms on the planet, right? Microsoft has really upped its security game from a solution standpoint over the past, I want to say, like probably 5 to 7 years. So they've really grown inside that area. So they have a lot more, I guess, weight and clout as it comes towards their security solution technology stacks, right? So some common ones you guys may have heard may have been like Microsoft Defender, may have been Microsoft Identity for Defender, right? Maybe Microsoft Sentinel, which is their SIEM and SOAR platform. That's the main one that I will be covering because I am a SIEM engineer and a detection engineer, so that is my specialty, right? The thing to know about Microsoft solutions in general is that they are, the way they get you is that they bundle together. So Microsoft is not a market leader in any of its security solutions technology stacks, in my personal opinion. I've talked to Microsoft people directly and they agree with me. The way they get it is that they bundle together, right? So if you get, let's say M365, right? I believe the baseline Defender comes with it and some other Sentinel stuff as well, right? So normally it's cheaper to get it with it. So even though it may not be the best one on the market because it's just more cost effective from the standpoint of, especially if you are a Microsoft shop, they'll just have it, right? Firms will just get it and keep it, right? That's something to note, right? So your firm may use Microsoft Sentinel and they may not really enjoy it. They may just use it because it is the cheapest one on the market based off of their own specific use cases for what they actually have, right? So that is one thing to actually note from that standpoint, because they may just want to keep it, right? So keep it in mind when you guys are going about your journey for learning Microsoft Sentinel as well, right? Again, in my personal opinion, Splunk is the best in the market. I stand very firm by that. But I know Microsoft Sentinel has been gaining a lot of share from different clients and trying to implement it and use it as well. I'll pause for a second. Are there any questions for me at all based off of what I've covered? And remember, guys, this session will be recorded as well. So if you have any questions about it at all, this will be recorded, or you can directly just reach out towards us for anything that you may have read as well. I know, Sophie, we haven't had you be trained on anything Microsoft related, but if you could speak towards the perspective of what some of our clients are looking for in terms of that type of area.
Yeah, so some of the Microsoft certifications are really useful for some of the roles that we're scouting for. And they're almost always some type of requirement in some types of fields, especially in government, which is some of our contracts are. There are almost always a requirement for the person to know what the Microsoft tools to use depending on the position. So there are very useful certifications for you to get if you want to start off in Microsoft as a professional. So some of those are the security architect, security operations analyst, and the identity and access management administrator, where you can possibly enter cybersecurity roles while staying within Microsoft and their certifications.
I have a question towards the audience. Does anybody here have any Microsoft certifications? And feel free to drop them into the chat as well.
Also getting some time to, be in the Microsoft sandbox to use PowerShell or Azure environments is really useful if you're trying to do at-home practice labs, because it is part of the experience. So not only getting certified and doing the exam, but also having that practical experience within Microsoft environments is really helpful in strengthening your application towards a role that you possibly are reaching for.
Yeah, they have a pretty robust library in terms of resources. If you want to actually get a Microsoft certification, there's different paths from it, right? I know there's like AZ. I think 900 is the baseline for no matter what path you take, and then you have like think if you want to do more security related stuff, right? You can do like SC 200 or 300. One for security identity fundamentals, and the ones for the actual analytic tracker. That's the right one to go to. From there, you can try to scale up and do like an AZ 500, which is more of Azure security engineer, right? So it covers Defender, Microsoft Sentinel. That covers how to use a network and aspect for firewall creation as well. How to create VMs and actually ingest logs from them. All right. So this depends on like what your end goal actually is in terms of you actually getting a certification from it. All right. So we can also go towards the argument of like, should you get a cert? Should you not get a cert? Again, it just depends on what you want to do. Right. There are some firms that do ask that you have certain certifications when you're trying to apply for a job, right? Certifications are bigger in cybersecurity than they are in other fields. So if you work for like Critical Start, they're an MSSP based out of Dallas, Texas, or Plano, technically. For all the roles when you apply towards them for their security engineering, security analyst stuff, they require you to have like Microsoft certifications if you want to actually get applied there, not applied or get hired there. I know because I didn't have them, they didn't pick me. So again, keep that in mind, right? It's just going to depend on what area you want to go inside of for it. No, a good baseline is normally they'll require like SC 200 to 300, right? If you're trying to apply for it. Again, remember there's a difference between passing the cert and actually having the knowledge. So if you want to take this cert, I highly suggest that you actually build out a roadmap so you're able to actually get to the point towards where you can understand the actual materials and be able to articulate that in an interview properly for whatever hiring manager or senior engineer you may be talking to. And Sophie, have any of our clients tried to ask for any Microsoft certifications towards your knowledge?
Yeah, so for the contracts that we have for our clients, which is basically we're staffing for positions that are mostly in government, the government the government's main suite of technology that they use is Microsoft. So there almost always is some type of requirement for a Microsoft certification or for knowledge within the Microsoft suite. And it's really beneficial if you have cloud experience. So just getting practical experience with Azure is really, really good for breaking into those roles, especially the ones that we're scouting for, which are mid to senior roles. So having a certification with Microsoft does not hurt at all. If anything, it's really beneficial.
Yeah. I know they have like a wide set of tools. So what they do compared towards what some other vendors do is they'll kind of bundle the tools together to set a certification. So for example, SC200, right, doesn't just test for like Microsoft Sentinel, it tests across most of their security technology stack, right? So there's SIEM, SOAR, XDR, and identity management, which is why I didn't pass it because I don't like Defender. But that's okay. It's my personal problem. So yeah, again, it's just going to depend on what you actually want to do for what your goal is. So keep that in mind whenever you're trying to get a certification. Overall, it doesn't matter if it's Splunk, Elastic, whatever vendor. I think that'll be a really good tip for you guys to kind of follow. I'll pause for a second. Are there any questions for me or Sophie? We can talk for a little bit. Let me see. No one? Oh, disappointing. Same thing of what I tell everyone, right? Closed mouths don't get fed. So if you want something, you gotta ask for it. So I know you guys have questions for us, so don't be shy. If you do have any, just feel free to drop them inside of the actual chat and we'll answer them. That is why we're here. So any questions about certifications, paths you should take, options you should do, and just drop them down below. Because what I'm going to do now is, let me see. I'm going to do a quick little demo. I'll hand it back towards Sophie after that. She can talk. So let's see here. See if I can find it real quickly. Let me share my screen. Yes. So let's see if I see that the list I'm looking for. Let's see. All right, perfect. I guess everyone can see my screen. If not, please let me know. And I'll drop this link inside of the chat as well, so you guys have it. Just a little bit old, it's like 4 years old, but I believe most of these certifications are still still active, for lack of a better term, right? So you have, this is one, I would say for most people that follow me or when I join a program, for example, this is one of the ones that you guys might want to get. Some of my students get this as well, right? This is Microsoft Security Operations Analyst one. This is S3200. So this is like the one you're going to be more for a technical analyst, right? You're going to be security analyst, you're going to be lead analyst, potentially maybe. This is one of the certifications that you might want to get. So again, this is going to cover Azure Sentinel, Microsoft Sentinel, Defender, MP65 Defender, some of their other third-party products, right? I have this one. I have the 300 one, right? I don't think this one expires. I don't know if you have to take a renewal exam.
No, it's the one after that. It's the SC400 that is retiring soon.
I got you. Cool. I know for the more advanced ones, you have to do the renewal, right? But for I think these ones, it says you have it for life once you get it. If I'm correct. So yeah, there's identity access management one. What's this one I got? I can't remember. I had to double check. But yeah, there's identity access management. So you want to do more IAM. This is one of the ones you might want to do, right? I think they call it Entra ID, even though they change the damn name. That's one of the ones you might want to do. If you want to try to focus on that as an IAM specialist or identity access management. They just retired this one. Okay, this is one that I did, right? So this is, and I don't know if the culture is still good. You guys can try them if you want to, right? Oh, never mind then. We're 4 years too late. Bad on us. So these are some ones you might want to take, right? So there's the security operations analyst ones, which I probably suggest towards a lot of you, right? There's SC 900 compliance ones. There's identity access management one, right? So this depends. And then there's prep ones for this as well. The other more advanced ones would be the AEC 500. This is a security engineer one. So for example, I'm gonna drop this below. So you guys have this. Oh, let me minimize this.
I'd like to add that the SC900 is a fundamentals certification, so it's really beginner friendly, and you don't really have to have a background in IT to be able to learn from that one and pass that exam. So it's good if you come from a business background, if you're a stakeholder, if you already have experience in IT, or if you just want to get into security. The other ones would be more intermediate. So I feel like that one's actually really, really good to start off your journey in getting a Microsoft certification.
So let's see. Let's go towards this is, yeah, so it tells you what level this actually is, right? And it tells you if you have to actually renew this or not. This is a secure operations analyst one. Level is intermediate, right? A role secure operations analyst, subject security, last updated last 2 months ago. Right, and it will tell you what you need to know, right? Microsoft Defender XDR, Security Copilot, Sentinel, right? Microsoft Defender for cloud workload, third-party solutions, right? So you should be familiar with M365, Azure Cloud Services, Windows Linux and mobile operating systems as well, and tell you the skill sets that you'll get if you actually do this. All right, and these are the overview for the areas you'll have to actually cover. The practice exam, you get send out demos as well. So for the vouchers from the previous page, Taj, I believe those are all for Microsoft, all the SC ones. So 200, 300, 900, 400. I think those ones might have expired. So you have to check the page. So that was like 4 years old. But the link is there. So you're able to check. Let's see. So yeah, again, for those that want to take this type of stuff, just let me know. These are a lot of the concepts we cover inside of the class as well through the various platforms, Splunk and Sentinel, right? And as well as AWS too. So it just depends on what path you want to take, right? For this. And then someone didn't answer my last question, actually. Perfect. Joshua put, see what Joshua has. Joshua King, he has AC 900 and then SC 900. Those are the same ones that I have exactly. Joshua, so very good on you. I took mine's like, I'm gonna say 3 years ago, so it's been a decent while. I studied for SC 200, but I didn't pass it because, again, I don't like Defender, so I didn't hit it as hard as I should have. But yeah, Definitely, if you have some questions about what certifications you should get for that, just let me know.
I actually did the modules for the Azure Fundamentals AZ 900, and I'd say that that one's really good to kind of start off grasping security concepts, especially using those Microsoft tools. So those 900 ones are really good to start off. I haven't seen or done any of the modules for the SC 900, but I believe those are the fundamental ones. So it's definitely worth taking a look and doing those modules, even if you're not looking to complete that exam. It really gives you a broad perspective of the theory that goes into network and security as well.
And 7 writes, how does a CompTIA search compare to MS search on resume? Good question. Sophia, I'll let you handle this. And 7, why aren't you in class?
So CompTIA it's more of a, I'd like to say you see it and you know it, because who in security doesn't know the CompTIA certifications? It's definitely good to have. It's almost always, not almost always, but I'd say it's a requirement for some of our positions that we have out. And it's really good to see those CompTIA Security Plus, CCNA, the Network Plus, and all of the ones from CompTIA. I'd say that having a CompTIA certification doesn't necessarily equate to you having practical experience. So I say if you do have that CompTIA certification, definitely do at-home labs and projects to make sure you put that knowledge in practice. But compared to a Microsoft certification, it depends more on the position that you're applying to, because Microsoft is something that probably the company you're applying for uses, versus CompTIA, which is more of a certification to prove that you have this knowledge within security or network. So if you want to go more specialized, especially depending on the position that you're going for, you could dive into Microsoft. You could also dive into AWS the same way, or into Google. It really all depends on where you want to specialize. But having the CompTIA ones is really good as well.
Yeah. And biggest thing I'd probably tell you overall is make sure you can actually do the job at the end of the day, right? Because it's very important for you to have the certification and get towards your interview, then you don't know what you're actually talking about, right? So above all else, actually be able to functionally do the job is the bare minimum I would tell you. And then I would also say to actually build and I'd say actually to build and showcase your actual skills as well. I couldn't find it actively. I tried the one in Slack, but it didn't work. No, just an updated. I'll get it fixed, 7. The Slack link is the death with us, Sophie. It's not working for Google Meet.
The link on Slack?
Yeah, remember for class? For Google Meet,
Yeah.
the one that we keep having troubles with, it seems doesn't want to work. I don't know why. So I don't know if Justin updated it or not, but that's easy stuff we'll figure out. But yeah,
I'll look into it.
Yeah, 7. After this, Sophie will get on it so you can get it fixed.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why it's not working. It's very annoying. Anyways, that's our first 4 problems will get fixed. So, as I was saying, right, if you want to take the type of certifications you can, right, I'm not for certifications. They're a tool at the end of the day to get what you want, right? Just use them as you should, right? So be smart about it, right? And use the right tool for the right job. That's my mindset always. If you want to get certifications, great. Just be able to do the job at the end of the day. That's what matters. build up relationships, right? Actually should be able to showcase your skills. That's going to get you much farther than just having certification. Let's see. Oh, excuse me. Next up, I'm going to move towards doing a very, very quick demo of how to actually, let's see here. So one of the things I like to do is I like to create outlines on how to actually perform searches, right? Again, when you're actually doing interviews and stuff like this, you can showcase this as well, which makes your lives a lot easier. So for a really quick example, let's say I wanted to create a heartbeat query to find the last 10 records within inside of an environment, right? So I basically want to see, are we actually getting data back from this environment? What I can do is, this is using KQL as well, right? So this custom querying language, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. What you'll do is order it by time generated, and there are converters as well, using like Sigma rules where you convert from KQL to SPL and vice versa. Oh God, my thing's blowing up. So let's say we're going to take the last 10. We're going to do by descending as well. And I will hit run. Should return the last 10 events from the heartbeat table. Right, so we're checking to see to make sure that we're actually getting data back from our direct agents, right? Security groups will get you information about it. This is non-Azure. This is from my host machine that's pulling this from. You can scroll down. You can go down here as well to see what data you're actually getting pulled back. So Sentinel is different than Splunk, for example. In my opinion, it's not as intuitive, right? You can't just directly create an alert, right? You can see it as a function, but I can't save this as a alert. I would have to manually create this as an alert, right? So for example, let's go towards analytics rules. So I could duplicate this if I wanted to, or I could duplicate it or just go directly towards it. Either or works. And go to analytics rules, right? So when we create analytics rule, and just go to query one. This is a near real-time query rule, right? I can schedule it out, right? We'll do near time, right? Near real-time. So I want to create this as heartbeat data ingestion, description, checking, see if data is being pulled from our agents into our Microsoft Sentinel environment. This is not any attack pattern at all from MITRE ATT&CK. Set the rule logic if you want to, right? Just copy this. Can evaluate it, right? Test the current data. You can test it, right? Make sure make sure the data is actually live and it's actually coming in. Make sure you have what you want. Might take a little bit of time. Let's see. It's just want to create this many alerts per day, right? Which is not what we want. Again, this wouldn't. I'm not going to create this because this would destroy our systems. All right, this would be god awful expensive. I'm not going to do that. All right. So what I could do is I could filter this down, where I could say where I don't know. Let's do where computer equals Snowtrooper 2022, right? Or I could say where. Let's see. I could do where events equal is greater than 10 and a period of like 5 minutes or something like that, right? I could create that. It couldn't work if it ever drops off or below that. But in our case, right, I'm not going to create this because, again, this is not ideal whatsoever, right? So I'll cancel this, not create it. But yeah, if you want to create an alert, that's how you do it. There's other ones, there's other ways you can do it as well. There's other alerts you can create. So it just depends. So for example, if I wanted to create another one, I could do, for example, let's see from my list. Or it's another search I can do in general. You can do security events ones. Let's do where time generated. Let's do 7 days ago. Again, this is similar towards SPO. It's a querying language, but it's slightly different. All right. It takes time to get done. The more you use it, better off you be. Time generated, right? We'll do descending. And then again, no. We take the first 10 events for this. Then we'll do shift enter or run. It's done generated. Let's see. Task level. You give an ID for it, right? So you can continuously test and see. And then you can start to create more rules off of this if you want to, right? As you do your investigations. Let's see here. If I take this out, let's see. What's the pullback for me? All right. Yeah, so we had a conflict, I believe, because I said take the last 10 events, but it's 7 days ago, right? So the last 10 isn't 7 days ago, right? It's within the last like probably 10 minutes or so. So, you know what? Test it out. Let's see what you get. So my sample size is too small. See, it's only pulls back from today. Even though I did it 7 days ago, I did take the actual last 10. All right. So it's not going to pull that back. Yeah. This is basic KQL. There's more complex stuff you can do with this, but in a nutshell, just how it works. So again, the more you do this, the better off you be. And then how you get data to your system is you're going to have different plugins from data connectors. Yes, it's okay. You can leave it. Right. And there's other ones you can get. So you go to Content Hub. Think of these as like apps and add-ons if you're a Swank person. So if you want to get data from like Amazon Web Service, you get data from Amazon Web Service and you just configure this to actually ingest that data, right? So it depends on what data you want to try to ingest. There's literally data for, or there's add-ons for a lot of different common vendors and security tools, right? There's Jira. All right, you can take the Jira auto logs, you can get that. If you're a CrowdStrike person, there's CrowdStrike. So again, it just depends on what you're trying to do. I'll pause there for a second. Are there any questions about what I've covered so far? That's like 2% of Microsoft Sentinel. There's a lot more you can do with it. I want to see if anybody has any direct questions for me at all. No questions. Oh, that's surprising. All right, then. Sophie, do you have anything to add from the standpoint of like what people should do if they want to focus on Microsoft security area?
Yeah, I'd say definitely going for the certifications is a good way to start through the beginners and then leveling up as you go. Microsoft has a big library of certifications that you can go for. So I'd say focus on a line of certifications that you want to get. So if you do want to stay within security, stay on that line. There's other certifications that you could get, uh, even though you started off with one, which was something that I was going to do. So it's really flexible. But I'd say to start with the certifications and definitely practice on those sandbox environments that the Microsoft platform provides for you when you are looking at those modules and looking to get that exam, and just build practical experience as well, because I feel like that really showcases the knowledge more than just saying, oh, hey, I have a certification, I passed the exam. It's about what you really know how to do for the position that you're going for. So just a lot of studying, but also at home labs, experience with the PowerShell, getting into that cloud and exploring the tools that it has. So all of those could get you to Microsoft for sure.
Oh, Sophie, your signal's getting choppy because you're in the mountains in the forest. So that happens. So
Where did you guys lose me?
no, we didn't really fully lose you. You were just kind of choppy.
Oh, should I say all of that again?
No, you're good. You're good. So basically, what Sophie was trying to say is same thing I've been trying to say, right? Having certifications is a good path to go down if that is your end goal, right? Because they showcase you have the ability to actually study and do something for a decent amount of time, right? But you need to have the actual experience, right, or the ability to actually do the job, right? And you can showcase it in many different ways, right? One of the ways I like to do is I like to actually build out my actual, as I like to call them, board of directors, people I can really trust on. If my goal is to actually land a job within the sector, right? So that is something that I'm about to show you guys too. So you guys will notice a pattern of how we run these type of sessions. I like to do something technical and take it back from actual career perspective from it. So let's go with this. So if I wanted to, let's say, do a semi goals work on Microsoft, right? All right, let's say that. First, I'm going to check to see if I actually know anybody that works at Microsoft. All right. Now, remember, Microsoft is one of the most prestigious companies in the planet. So if you want to work there, you need to be of a certain ilk. What that mean? What that mean by that? You need to have a certain skill set in order to reach that job, right? One, because they have amazing benefits. Again, it's very prestigious. You get paid a lot of money. All right. You work on the whole project. So everyone will love to work at Microsoft for the most part. So if that is your end goal, you need to be able to actually stand up towards that, right? Again, there is a cost towards everything, right? It's up to you to actually see if you're actually willing to pay that cost. That's all there is towards it. So I know a lot of people on a first name basis, as I like to say, they actually work at Microsoft. So I can actually reach out towards them if I want to work at Microsoft and ask them like what is to be expected. Let's go with some that is actual technical. Kejan was actually on the channel, like I want to say February, January, right? He was actually on it for one of our threat intelligence ones, which everyone really liked a lot. If you guys want him on again, just let me know. We'll bring him on. Yeah, he is a security researcher at Microsoft, right? So if I want to ask him, like, hey, what would be some of the things I need to learn to actually get a job at Microsoft, I can always directly ask and reach out towards him, right? Now, that's me because I have a very strong network, right? Let's say you're someone that is more junior and you don't have that strong network yet, right? There are a couple of ways you can build relationships with people from Microsoft, right? What are one of them, right? One is you can check out what they do if they post a lot to see if you're able to actually comment or like on if they're a content creator, right? So if they have stuff they talk about a lot or shows or channels they go on, you can support them that way, right? So I know one of the people would be like Sly, for example. Sly quite active on the platform, right? So Sly works at Microsoft. So if you wanted to actually get in contact with him, right? Provide him value, right? Support him, share his stuff, right? Do that for a decently long enough time, and he'll eventually want to reach out towards you and talk to you, right? So if you wanted to, let's say, support one of his things, you could check out his post and actually support it. Look, most people haven't supported his things, right? So if you do this pretty consistently, right, it's very easy for you to get noticed by him, right? That's one way you can start a relationship, right? Another way you can actually do this, right, is actually go on Microsoft's LinkedIn page, go to view page, go to jobs. You can check out what jobs they actually had, right? So if you want to become a security researcher, right, you can check out and see what will be required from it, right? See what skill sets you're actually looking for. This is a senior role. So for those of you that are more junior, you probably wouldn't be able to apply towards this, right? But they should have roles that are non-senior for this, right? Again, what are they asking for, right? What are the qualifications? What are some responsibilities, right? And then you can
A
actually
lot
see,
of the
right?
times, guiding yourself through what the actual company wants. So if you're looking to get into Microsoft and you research Microsoft positions and you know the requirements and what they're asking for, like Kenneth said, that can help you try to get into roles that are not necessarily with Microsoft and have a better perspective of the needs and the requirements that they're asking for as well. So if you can make it here, you can definitely make it over there. Um, I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes sense. So what Sophie basically saying is if your end goal is to work at Microsoft, but they don't want to pick you up, let's say right now, if you're not skilled enough, for example. If you're not yeah, Microsoft is like the top 1% of firms to work at, right? So if you're good, if you're anywhere close enough to be good enough to work at Microsoft, you can probably work for most other firms pretty easily, right? So keep that in mind, right? So all the skills that they may ask for, if you're able to actually take that and then apply it to other jobs, you're very likely to get a job there. All right. So what they're asking for, right? So a lot of this, a lot of these things are built inside of Microsoft Sentinel, honestly, right? So if you understand their security solutions, right, area, that's gonna be very beneficial, right? And this is what the ranges are for IC4, IC5, right? Again, this is very good for most places in the country, right? Maybe if you live in San Francisco, this is not a lot, or New York. But if you live there, that's on you. Can't help you with that, right? So these are very good pay bands, right? Again, this is why most people want to work at Microsoft, amongst other things as well. So again, this is what you want to do. You want to make the necessary sacrifices in order to make that happen, right? Again, everything has a cost. This is up to you if you want to actually pay that cost, right? So again, those are some ways if you want to work, I'd say at Microsoft, because this is a Microsoft Solutions Ask Me Anything session. This is one of the ways that you can make it happen, it's a brief overview. Again, if you want much more detailed steps for you specifically, book some time with me, schedule a call with me, so I can actually dive deep inside of like what are the pain points you've been having. All right. So if you want it to happen, just reach out towards me on LinkedIn, email, YouTube, whatever the case may be, and we can talk more. But yeah, Microsoft is like a Fortune, I think 3 or 2 company, right? So they're always hiring. Even when they do layoffs, they're still hiring because they're such a large company with so many different divisions. They're worth like what their market cap's like $1 trillion, I think. So they're always hiring, right? There's different ones you can do as well, right? Different positions. And they have an office in Dallas as well. It is, I want to say, 2 miles away from where I live. It's like down the street. It's very close. So if you want to work here, that is one option you can always have. Again, it will not be easy, but if that's your end goal, and that's your end goal, all right. Okay. Any questions about what I covered so far? Please drop your questions in. I rumbled on for long enough. I'll save it the last 10 minutes of this session for any questions you guys may have about what we covered so far. Anything can be from career stuff for certifications, how to learn Microsoft Sentinel, some things about like what we do. Again, don't be shy.
I just want to say that if your end goal is to get into Microsoft and showcase those skills while you're trying to get that dream job, definitely showcasing them in LinkedIn and other platforms that you can just display what you do, what you have done with those tools that you're playing around with is super important, because once you make it to the applications and that recruiter is looking at your file and they go into your LinkedIn and they see all of that, it definitely strengthens that application. So make sure you're showcasing everything you do if you're getting into Microsoft, and posting all those milestones that you may have hit, because you don't know who's watching.
Someone's always watching. There really are. Sophie can attest towards it. She's trying to find the best candidates. So make sure.
Yeah,
again.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always take the time as a recruiter to go through people's LinkedIn and just skim a little bit. And it definitely helps to see what type of professional they are. So it always really helps. I have found value in LinkedIn sometimes more, or sometimes I see on LinkedIn that's not necessarily on the resume, because it's, the resume is so brief and it can only display that much. And I feel like, if you're working with a recruiter that does value going and looking at LinkedIn, it's worth you posting those milestones.
Again, any questions for me or Sophie at all for what we covered today? Anyone at all? I know you guys have them. So it's like trying to pull teeth sometimes. If you have a question, Sophie, I'll let you handle this one.
So for getting in the cloud, I really like doing the AZ900 modules. I'll get the exact name, but you can get it through that same code. So AZ-900 should make the certification pop up. And that really got me into Azure fundamentals, which is the Microsoft Cloud. So if you want to get into cloud security, but you just want to see how the cloud is first, definitely get that one. Start off there and then build up towards the cloud security line of stuff. And that will definitely help you out.
Yeah, I would say AZ900 is a good fundamental if you want to do specifically for Microsoft. From there, you can focus on security specifically, probably SC900, and then like SC200 and AZ500. All right. Again, don't just go search chasing. Actually, understand the materials. Right. I know a bunch of people that have a bunch of search, but they don't know what the hell they're doing. All right. So I should be able to actually functionally do the job. Is what I suggest towards you, Joseph. Then you have questions about that at all, feel free to DM me or Sophie at all if you want to learn more about it. And we do cover Microsoft Sentinel and Azure Security for our program as well. Are there any other questions at all? Again, don't be shy, guys.
I also want to just highlight something that I learned. So if you still have access to your educational institution's email, getting Microsoft resources is easier and so much more cost effective through that. So if you're doing a master's at the moment, if you're still doing your bachelor's, if you're in pursuit of anything educational where you might have an email that you can access Microsoft with, it's so helpful, so much better. You have so much resources, and it's just a lot better for the money.
Yeah, I think my USF email address is expired now, so I can't utilize it anymore. That was 5 years ago, so I'm getting old.
I also want to highlight an experience that I had. So while I was doing the modules for my AZ900, I was working at the Office of Legislative Services here in Puerto Rico, and my boss was actually the one who encouraged me to get the certification. So, you know, going towards your superiors or your mentors at the moment and just talking to them about your aspirations and the things that you want can open doors for you. So have that conversation, and you don't know, maybe someone will sponsor it for you, whether it be your company or whether it doesn't always have to be something that you do just alone. You can make it part of your professional journey, and that can also really help you in the pursuit of things. So I just wanted to put that out there. Don't be afraid to talk about your aspirations and the things that you want. You don't know who might be rooting for you or who might sponsor you for those things.
Again, cold mouth don't get fed. The worst thing they're going to do and tell you is no. So always just ask. They're just going to tell you no, or you'll probably get it more than likely. So that's why I say, will you just shoot your shot? Don't be afraid. Again, any last minute questions at all from me or Sophie about anything Microsoft security related, career wise, as it relates towards us and what we do, or certifications that you might want to get? I'm going to shut up for the next 60, 90 seconds. Oh, perfect. Joseph puts, regarding Sentinel specifically, would you recommend for someone who's new to wait on studying for it at a later time after matching the basics first? Well, I would ask you, Joseph, what level are you currently at? Do you already have previous either IT or cybersecurity experience, or are you completely going towards the field? All right. Um, that'll help me give you a better answer. I would say a quick overview of what you should do. Again, I don't know you well enough to give you like specific advice on your situation, but if you have never touched security at all, um, there's other foundational things you could do if you want to hold off on that. Sentinel isn't too hard to spin up or use. Um, but if you've already worked in IT or cybersecurity before, then learning Sentinel shouldn't be that hard. All right. At least like the baseline level of it. Once you get inside the more complex aspects of like doing like anomaly detection, doing machine learning detection, right? Or doing threat hunting, building automation, then might get more complex. All right, but a baseline perspective isn't too hard to use. So it's easier to learn than Splunk. But yeah, I think Splunk is the most powerful one in the market, which is why it's the main one we teach for the program. We also teach Sentinel as well. So it just depends on what you want to do and where you currently are at your current stage in your career.
Definitely. If you don't have any base knowledge at all in IT, I'd say build your way up into those tools because, it's always get into Azure, but Azure is pretty big. The cloud has a lot of tools and functions. And also, it's always get into Microsoft, but Microsoft is a whole suite of tools and things that you can explore. So if you want to get into Sentinel specifically, build your way up from there if there's no base knowledge at all. Um, and if you want to get into cloud security, like I said, getting the AZ900 is a good way to start. Kenneth might know a little bit more about getting into Sentinel. But yeah, definitely build up to there so you can always so there's no gaps between your knowledge and you can always fall back on something.
Yeah. Learning the basics is really important as you go on your journey, right? But you can learn the basics and learn Sentinel at the same time because understanding Sentinel reinforces the basics, right? From log ingestion, how do logs actually work, how does networking actually work, right? How to set an environment, right? What are cloud fundamentals? What data are you actually using and how is it actually structured, right? So to actually properly learn the platform, it's going to force you to actually understand those concepts.
Yeah, a lot of IT work is putting concepts and then just doing the practice. And as a student myself, sometimes you're in a lab or you're putting something into actual practice, whether it be on a project or something, and you're like, this and this does not add up. So, yeah, having that base knowledge and building up while actually getting that practical experience in is so important for it to actually make sense to you. I can't speak for Sentinel myself, but that's why I always highlight people actually showcasing the things that they've done, and not just the certifications that they have.
And our last question will be from Joseph. I'm a complete rookie when it comes to cloud security. I'm more comfortable with networking concepts at the current moment. If that is the case, then you still should be fine to learn Sentinel. If you want to learn Sentinel, if you want to learn Splunk, it's fine. If you want to learn Elastic, that's fine as well. It doesn't really matter, honestly. Just don't learn like QRadar, which is trash. But yeah, that is fine either way from that standpoint. Biggest thing will be understanding how SIEM and SOAR platforms are going to work at a very foundational level. So no matter what area you want to go inside it for cybersecurity, or what platform your future firm uses, you're able to use it. If you go to Elastic, you'll be using Elastic. If you go to like Palo Alto, you'll be using Palo Alto. Right? If you work at like a big consulting firm, you may have to use all three of them. Right? So the more flexible you are with that, the better off you'll be in the long run. So I'll just keep that in mind. But again, learn and understand from a foundational level, which is what we teach for our programs, and you'll be in a much better spot, Joseph. And again, Joseph, if you have questions about that or what we do, reach out towards me. Feel free to ping me or Sophie. We can take it from there.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on that. So the way my bachelor's was built is that there is a part which is cybersecurity, there's a part which is network, and then there's another part which is computer science, which is programming, backend, and all of those sorts of stuff, databases. So I'm currently done with the networking part of my bachelor's, and I want to say that if you have any questions on how to break in to cybersecurity from the networking perspective, definitely reach out towards me. Um, since that's kind of how I went about it and how I've gone about my career. And there's so much opportunity in network security specifically. So if that's something that you'd like to, chat a little bit more about, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn.
Yep. But if there's no further questions at all, that will do it for us for this session. So because I missed last week, I had some personal stuff to take care of. There's going to be 2 more sessions within the next probably 3 weeks. So we'll probably not next week, but the 23rd and the 30th we'll have 2 back-to-back sessions. So we're going to be having on Nigel and Markeisha, as well as some other people for those 2 sessions. So if you guys want to hop on that one, definitely check it out. I'm going to be creating the invite for that probably tonight or tomorrow. One of Markeisha will be more of a LinkedIn session. One of Nigel will be more of probably threat intelligence again. So any questions you guys have about that at all, let us know. But otherwise, again, please subscribe, support us, like us, comment us on LinkedIn, follow us. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time.